Hey everybody, welcome back. Alright, so in this lesson we're going to extend our chord progression and we're going to make it run over 8 bars. So let's double click on our MIDI to go in and edit. Let's just zoom out a touch. So we're going to have this so it kind of repeats, but it's going to be different or changed in the second half. So first of all, let's copy over our first chord. So we've got a duplicate of that, but we're going to change this up a bit and let's just move this up to a G. Okay, so let's just play that, see what it sounds like. So you can see it just sounds a bit different, even though it's the same chord, still an E flat major chord. I'll tell you what, just shorten our loop region by holding the Control or Command key, and we're just going to section off this second part of the chord progression. Now just one handy thing is if you hold Shift and scroll your mouse wheel up and down, you'll see that you can go left or right. Normally without holding Shift you just go up and down, but when you hold Shift you go left and right. So it's just quite an easy way of navigating left or right rather than having to come down every time and drag the scroll bar at the bottom. So the second chord in the second half of the progression is going to be something a little bit different. Again, we're going to borrow a chord like we did in the last lesson. It's going to be a bit more extreme though in this case. So last time, if you remember, the borrowed chord was literally just changing the center note from a D to a D flat, represented as a C sharp in Cubase, but it is the same D flat, C sharp, same note. So this time what we're going to do is we're actually going to build a completely new chord and we're going to start with the root note as C sharp. So C sharp, as we know already, isn't in the E flat major scale. As we can see here, we've got C, but we don't have D flat, I should say. We don't have D flat, we just got D, E flat and C, but no D flat. And again, that's what we use to make that borrowed chord on the second chord there. So this time we're actually going to start with that as our root note, but we're going to carry on as we have done before, and we're just going to skip one note in the scale, add a note, skip one note in the scale, and add another note. And there we go, we got our second chord. And it's just going to add a bit of variation. It'll make a bit more sense once we've got the other chords in as well. But for now, let's just augment this one as well. So let's take our D flat and let's copy it up to octaves. And also, let's copy it down 2 octaves as well. So we've got, oops, didn't mean to do that. So we've got 3 D flats, all spaced 2 octaves apart. Let's just have a listen. So we've got a slightly different sound, that's fine. And then we're going to go back to our 2 chord. So let's just draw in our 2 chord. So we know the root note of that is F. So that's the second note in the E flat major scale. Then we skip a note, add a note, and then skip a note and add a note. And let's duplicate the C up 1 octave there, and let's duplicate the F down 2 octaves down there. This is what we got. Okay, sounding pretty good so far. And then for our last chord, let's actually copy across. We're going to go back to another 4 chord, which is what we've got at the end of the first half of the chord progression. And we're just going to copy the whole thing across. And we're just going to sort of manipulate this a bit. So first of all, let's just grab those 2 and we're going to change the voicing. We're going to move them up an octave. Let's also change the voicing of the middle note. So C, let's move that up an octave as well. And we've already got our bass note in there, so actually that's probably fine. Okay, so that's sounding all right. Let's just have a listen to the whole thing together. Okay, so definitely I would hope you agree is a massive improvement over the initial very basic triad progression. Let's just zoom out so you can see the whole thing in, I say, all of its glory. I don't want to be too big-headed about it. But there we go. That's the whole chord progression. You can see how, obviously, we've just spaced out all of the notes. We've added many duplicates of certainly the bass notes, or the root notes have pretty much been duplicated in all of the chords. We've used a different combination of borrowing chords, 9 chords, different voicings, stuff like that, and your little sort of change in notes here just to help the thing flow along. So sounding at the end of it much more trancey. Now, of course, this is just with a piano sound. We're just getting the main feel of the melody, the harmonics of it correct. And in a couple of lessons time, we're going to actually change this into a sort of more trancey sounding lead, and we'll be chopping this up into a rhythmic pattern and really sort of getting it to go somewhere. But the first thing I want to do is this chord progression sort of happens a bit too quickly. And as often when you're making the chord progression, you don't want to have this too drawn out, because you'll want to listen back to it as quickly as possible. So we've got a key change, or sorry, we've got a new chord every single bar, but it's a bit too quick for the type of trance that I want to make. So we want this to sort of change every 2 bars, or we want a different chord every 2 bars, not how it is at the moment. So I could, of course, sort of manually change this. So I could expand the MIDI region, and then I could grab all of this stuff, move it along, grab my first notes, extend them, etc. But that's obviously a very long-winded way of doing things. I don't want to do it like that. So what I can do is if I come out and I just select the MIDI, I can either hold Alt or Option, right click and go to Logical Presets, but you can also get to them. Remember, you've got to have the MIDI selected. You can go to MIDI up here, go down to Logical Presets, and then we're going to go to Standard Set 1 and half tempo. And when I draw this out, you'll see that it's basically just changed all of the chords, so they now cover 2 bars. You get the idea. Now, just a quick one. If you are watching this and you have your logical presets as like grayed out, so you can't use them, and all of these grayed out so you can't select anything, that's a fairly common problem in Cubase, and it happens mainly when you've upgraded from a previous version. So we made a video about it which will show you how to get those presets back. You just got to basically copy them from one folder on your computer to another folder. So in order to find that video, literally just go to Google and type Cubase problems, hit enter, and it should be the first video that you see here. It's the one with green and the little Cubase symbol there. Obviously from Born to Produce, that's us. And this one will show you how to sort out all sorts of problems in Cubase, like not getting any sound, the grayed out logical presets, and a few other things. So if you're having any problems, go check that out. So that's it for the 3 lessons of this course. In the next lessons, we're going to be taking this chord structure, modifying it. We'll be covering synthesis, advanced automation techniques, creating bass lines, advanced kick processing, mixing, arranging, making really energetic build-ups, and way more. So if you do want to learn all of that and how to do it in Cubase, then click the link in the description and go check out the course. And if the video has been helpful to you, please do like and subscribe and hit the alert bell for more awesome tutorials coming up in the near future. Thanks very much for watching, guys and girls. See you later.